Okay, okay. Hey guys, wait, no, new stream marker. Okay, new stream marker here. Hey guys, new video here. Answering the question, how do I roll my maps? About a week and a half into the league. I've done this the same way for many leagues now, and it will be applicable for future leagues because this is new expansion content. And unless they change something major with the Alice and the Mouse, which they probably won't, because this came out 2 months ago. This is how I do it. So after you've been mapping for a while, let's take a look at this. We type in tier, and we have all these maps here, right? You have so many, of all the different colors. I pick up all the maps, which I'll explain later. But right here as well, look at this. Oh my God, so many maps. And the beauty of this is that now you can roll like quad tabs, 2 quad tabs of maps if you want, because you just have, look at this, you just have like infinite amounts of you look at this, right? Oh my God, you just have infinite amounts of red maps. Like I've cleaned some of these out, and I would suggest buying a map tab, because what I usually do is I will pull out all of my 14 to 16 maps. So you can do tier if you want to pull out everything, or you can do like tier 14, 15, 16, whatever you want. And the reason I do that is because once you pull out all these maps, and the map tab can fit a lot of maps in it, you're going to be able to go through, and if you want to separate into, later on, into the 8 octants, or whatever you want to call them, you can, right? But after pulling them all out, I will pull out the maps that I want to run. And the reason I mentioned 14 to 16 is because if you look here, on a fully Watchstone Awakening level 8 Atlas, the maps are only 14 to 16, right? And that's important because the 14 to 16 ones, when you run them, they will spawn the influence, right? So they fixed it in the past where you can't run like a white atoll or something and get the influence to proc initially. Okay, after you proc it, you can, but that's for another video. So I do the naturals, and be careful because some T16s downgraded can be like a tier 14, but once you're not changing the stones around and stuff, all the maps that are in your dump tabs will be what's known as the natural tiers. So I pull the 14 to 16s and I go through and I ask myself, which ones do I like to run? Okay, and this is going to be like, for you, you're just going to go through 14, 15, 16 after you pulled everything, and just ask yourself, which ones do you really enjoy running? Okay, and after you figure that out, you will pull out all the ones that you enjoy and then put them into a rolling tab here. That's what I do. I put them all into a rolling tab. And then what I do, okay, usually I would do a full quad tab or 2 quad tabs and roll them all and then separate. But for the purpose of this video, I don't have enough time. So I'm going to try to keep the video shorter and just roll, this is 72, I think, whatever like 3 times 24 is, right? So it's 72 maps, okay? So I've already done some things to them to shorten the video, and that is I have taken a look at my tier 16s in here, right? And I've scoured everything down. I've taken out the corrupted ones, the mirrored ones, because I just don't want to deal with those. And on T16s, I'll use the Chisels, okay? I do use Chisels currently on tier 16s if I have them. But since now I've hidden them on my filter, I don't have very many, so when I run out later in the league, I stop using Chisels. But if I have Chisels, I'll use them on T16s. Let's go back to the rolling tab. Another thing I've done, besides like the scouring, right, is like you're gonna have a lot of unID'd. So I ID all of them, and I scour them, and then after I've chiseled the 20%, the T16s, I will just ouch everything, right? I'll use Orb of Alchemy. It's this thing right here. Always use those. If you've seen the previous videos, you know how to use those. Okay, let's go back. And after I have ouched everything, and the filters I use first are like norm. Well, first I do this. I do corrupted, right? Because I want to take out those, and then mirror, because sometimes you have a white mirrored one and it won't be corrupted. And then after I take out those, I go like this. I go norm, right? Or you can go like unID'd if you haven't done that already, and then filter them all out. Okay, and then of course for chiseling 20%. And then after that, I go rare. And then at this point, since I've scoured everything, these will all be unhighlighted, right? When you type in rare. See how they're highlighted? That means they're all rare already. Okay, so you'll ouch everything until they highlight, so you know they're rare. And then after this is like a step where you have a lot of leeway from here on out, okay? And this is just how I do it. So if you have any suggestions, or you want to add like special tips and tricks, if you're like 500 IQ, you can do some stuff in the comments, I guess. But what I do is I first do this. I go reflect, because I run like multiple builds, and some of them have fizz, some of them have Ellie, some of them have half and half, some of them are converted, some of them like can do it, but the other ones can't. So I'm just gonna take out all the reflect, and how I'm gonna do that is I search here, and these are gonna be Ellie and fizz reflect, and I'm just gonna spam them down with C. I know that you can do scour ouch, but this is just faster, right? They're all gone. Next, what I do is to avoid Ellie. Because these will go into a separate tab if they're corrupted in with Ellie, because there'll be bigger quantity. But for these, the normal ones, I'm going to take them out, because with the Awakening 8, if you're self-cursing, 90% is a 90% chance to avoid elemental ailments is a roll on red maps only, and the Awakening 8 will take it over 100%, which makes it 100%. They cannot be inflicted by anything, okay? Not even with like skitterbots or Vinktar or any like weird stuff like that. So I will run those in a separate way, in a different tab. But for now, we're going to take all those out. And the reason you use parentheses, if you're wondering what parentheses do, is parentheses take that line exactly. So to avoid Ellie, the reason I do this, and you can shorten these down if you know like where like the letter stops for that roll. But the reason I put these in the quotations is because that's an exact match for avoid elemental ailments. Okay, if you just type in to avoid Ellie, a lot of times you have a full quab. To avoid Ellie will pull this word to avoid, like I think it's like bleed poison or something, and then Ellie is a separate line for like elemental anything, right? Like elemental equilibrium maybe. So this won't actually get rid of all the you know, it's just like more exact, right? You don't want to like re-roll avoid bleed or something, because I don't play those builds. Okay, so that's the reason to use quotations if you want to be more exact. Okay, so those are all gone, but because I spammed them with C, I could have reflect again, right? So I gotta double check the reflect again. Okay, there's no more reflect. Now what I'll do is I'll type in beyond, because beyond's pretty fun, right? For double beyond, I'll pull these out. I don't want to reroll these. Look at that. Look at that. So those are out here. I will not corrupt those. And then after this is like very person to person, this will vary what this threshold is, but for me, I do quotation ZE for that's pack size, and space plus 3, right? And what that means is these are 30% pack size, and that feels okay, right? This feels all right. I mean, people will be like, why not 29? Why not 28? Why not 31? Like, it's just arbitrary. Who cares, right? 3 covers everything 30 and above, and that's good enough for me. It's like, you know, when someone asks you like, how much money would you have to be paid to, you know, blow another guy or something, right? And then you're like, oh, I did it for like 10,000. They're like, why not 9,999? Why not 9,995? Right? And it's just like these numbers just go all over the place, and it gets really you know, it gets really pedantic. So just choose some kind of number that you're comfortable with. Mine is 30% pack size. Okay. Now after that, you are good to go. And I always recommend corrupting your maps. So at this point, I have separated the things that I want to look for. And remember, you're doing this like a quad tab or 2 quad tabs at a time. So you have a shit ton of these, right? You can pull these out into your inventory if you want, okay? Because like it'll be like they won't fit here, okay? If you have a full quad tab, you gotta pull them out. And then you go like this, corrupted. And then you're gonna take your orb, right? It's filtering for corrupted, and you're gonna highlight everything. Boom, you're gonna spam the whale orbs. These are really cheap right now. Expect them to be very, very cheap in future leagues as well. So and even if they were a little bit more expensive than they are now, it's always a recommendation to corrupt everything. Now, I have a whale temple here. Oh, I missed one. So, like this one's fine. I mean, if you want to run this for beauty through death, it's kind of a fun map. Triple boss, really nice. But you can sell those as well. Early league, they're like, what, 30, 40 C? Now they're like, if you have like a easy roll, it can still sell. So, but I don't run these though, because sometimes my characters suck and it's really scary. Now you have to filter again. So what I'm going to do is to avoid Ellie, right? And then what I'll do is like these. Now these are an interesting note, and I'll talk about these a little bit, right? Imagine pull these out into your inventory, and I have avoid Ellie and reflect tabs here for corrupted ones that I'll put into special tabs. And if you want to counterplay, run them with sextants, or run them in a special way where you can get around the elemental avoidance. If you're self-cursed, you can do that, and you should talk about that in a second though. Okay, let's just get this done. Then what you're gonna look for is the reflect. Okay, so now I have all these reflects, and as I just said, I have a special tab that I put all the reflect maps into. Okay, and then so just imagine like I don't have room here, but I pull them into my inventory and put them into the tabs, and then all these are good. And then what I'll do with all of these is I will separate, once again, remember that I have like a quad tab or 2 quad tabs at this point. I'll separate these into the specific things. So like Vestir, right? You look at those, Tierns, Valdo, you know, you separate into the 8 zones because I like to pull like a different number of map strategies, and you'll put them in there. I like to line up un-ID'd on one side and the other ones on another side. It doesn't really matter. I do separate them because the sextant is a lot more rare now, the un-ID'd sextant, so you'll almost never get enough un-ID'd sextants to run all of them, but I just separate them anyways because why not, right? And that's what I do there. And then of course beyond, you might want to separate your extra beyonds from the corruptions. Right, important note once again is that if you corrupt something and it goes un-ID'd, the roles that it had before you corrupted it remain. It'll never like add reflect to an un-ID'd map if you knew what it was before. That's why you filtered before. Okay, that's one thing that you'll do there. And then that's it. And then you pull everything into the respective 8 tabs, or if you don't care about that and you want to use the map tab to put everything in there and you run from there, that's fine as well. I don't like that, and that's too much for the scope of this video, but I just choose not to do that because it's easier to do this. Let's talk about this scenario here. Let's talk about a few scenarios that might come up that people might want to know about. Where is it? Right here. Okay, so why should you always do these? Because if you look at what happens when you corrupt, right, these are I avoid that. You see how like massive these are? Well, this one's not, but look at this. 43 133, right? 40 124, 42 130, 38 108. So these become pretty insane when they corrupt. And so I'm just going to show you one of these tabs, okay? So if I do ZE in here, look how many I have. I haven't been able to run them all. Like look at that, right? And look at that. Like they are so much better. So you should run these all at once if you do the counterplay for your character, or maybe your character can do it, and that's great. So that's why you should always do that. And then the reflect ones, you have the reflect sextant, and there are items now that can completely negate types of reflect damage. So you should do those as well, because running one of these maps juiced up would be like running maybe 2 or 3 20% pack size maps. It really is that crazy, and so you can think of that as running like your efficiency is like 2 to 1, 3 to 1. It's really insane. But it is, I understand that it is much more micromanagement, so you don't have to do it. You're never going to run out of maps, right? Where's my rolling tab? Is there anything else I need to talk about? And that's about it. Okay, that's the video. That's why I do. That's why I do. And if you have any other questions, I stream every day on twitch.tv/QTalk_. Okay, thanks for watching my video. Bye guys. Bye.